Yes, game winning drive. Hey, Mikey, good to see you, man. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday indeed.
Are you feeling like you are on a true game winning drive with this entry you got?
The governor called. He said, stop everything. Don't kill him yet. He said he's innocent. He said he did not kill those children.
Do not execute.
Do not do it.
Well, you guys were on the Bills. They won by so much, though. I feel like maybe you used too much power. You know what I mean?
We did bring out the big guns for it. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. It was like so many options for us. And we just felt like, hey, zip it. They're excited too for the
right, dude. The energy,
for me staying alive.
Man, the energy after getting an entry through that weekend, it is kind of palpable, right?
Okay, so like it was a complete minefield. Everybody's gone essentially. The contest has officially started. It feels like you're not, like, to compare it to a poker tournament, you're not the bubble didn't burst, but you're certainly far closer than you were at the start of the event.
Yes. I think this weekend. Oh, sorry, cut you off.
Go.
It crossed the peak Survivor buzz was this past week, where like the most people had the most like Survivor vibes. They're feeling like living the lifestyle, whatever, and then all those people getting knocked out. Like I felt like it was increasing excitement every week, but now that all those people got knocked out, it's like kind of it's different now. Well, I guess we can poke into why it's different, huh?
I feel like not everybody, but like a lot of people and teams were getting away playing with fire each and every week up until this past week. So there was a lot of like, Houston Texans going on one week. There was a lot of Arizona Cardinals going on. And like those things got through. And then the general vibe was we can keep getting this through. And then everything, the hydrogen bomb exploded on everybody this week.
Yes.
And you didn't end up getting it through. I mean, obviously some, but for the most part, these teams that are like, you're using them in an effort to bank somebody else, or trying to get a little sneaky on something, and this is the week that it exploded.
Hey, so yesterday I came across an interesting little factoid about that when I did the Monday like look ahead early walkthrough. I poke around Atlas on Mondays and stream it. So last week, if you looked at the entries that had saved all the great Thanksgiving teams, the 4 Thanksgiving teams,
okay,
there was over 1,000 of those. So it was like over 1,000 like entries where people have been doing what you're saying, picking, say Houston, Seattle, Arizona, or whoever, right? And half the field got knocked out. So you think half of those entries got knocked out, but it was closer to like 75% of those entries, because it was the people who have been getting weird, thinking they could just do forever. And, the kind of segment of good entries got punished extra hard because of that. Because once you're like, going week after week on that streak of, I can just pick a team that's
exactly,
just put some ball knowledge on it, get it right, and move on. Then your brain doesn't entertain like, I should just be safe and take Kansas City now, or I should be safe and take Philly.
Exactly.
You're just like, I got it mapped. I'm going to hit that. And I don't need.
And that's I feel like I don't know. I've kind of brought that up about our ticket. Like, so we've tried to, do exactly as you just said, like, thread the needle each week with these teams that are like, not your Buffaloes, not your, not your 14-point favorites, essentially. And like each week in the back of my mind, it was like, okay, we're banking these teams, but like, all for what, And then this week, again, we have a democracy, so it's like there's people voting, but collectively, I think we thought like, okay, we banked a lot, and let's make this week, a week that we pay up or spend some of that money in the bank.
Yes. So, but what was it that got the group all that mindset? Like, was it everyone? It was like blue or
I
what?
texted. I send you each week what I send to the group, and I try to give like an unbiased breakdown of the top whatever it is number of picks. If there's whatever 3 viable options, I'll talk about all 3. If there's 8, I'll talk about all 8, whatever it is. And then I always say, like, you're not limited to these 8. You can certainly pick off the board, but just, this is hopefully giving you a little bit of a breakdown. And I'll say things like, Kansas City, big favorite, but, super important to hold to, if you're going to take them, at least have a plan for what you want to do on the holiday slates. And then, and so I did that this week. And I think that the way that I texted it might have colored some people's opinion on it because I said like, Buffalo's a good, solid pick and like big favorite. But, I think what clinched it was like, I said that this is an opportunity for us to take a good team at a time when they're going to be relatively low owned.
Dude, you dropped a sentence. You dropped a ChatGPT sentence on him, and then
I hit him with old Grok 1-2. And
man,
so
that's the power of the press right there. You're
control. He who controls the printing press controls everything. So I'd said that, and then usually we conduct the vote on Wednesday or whatever, and first person cast a vote, and it was like Bills. Then the next one, Bills. Next one, Bills. Next one, Bills. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, and then, so I told you my strategy of like, once it's fait accompli that it's going to be Bills, I like to cast my vote elsewhere, just for posterity's sake and like giving myself the free roll. And obviously I cast on Falcons. And so like 2 other people said Falcons, and it would have had to come Falcons for us to do like a redraft or revote, I guess. And somebody else voted Bengals or something. So it was over, at that moment. And, lucky for us, we're on the Bills because this week we would have been out for sure. All of the other teams that were even on our radar were gone.
And your agenda got through and it worked out.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't know if they know that you came on here last week with that agenda. Oh, I'm gonna get the Bills bull case and ram it through. And
yeah, but it was like more subtle than that. I think that's it was like an Inception level type thing because I planted the seed somehow, even like against my own my own desires, because I didn't necessarily think super highly of the Bills. But I guess, my subconscious did because it came out in the way that I presented it to the group.
I mean, also early in the week, if you guys start talking about it on Tuesday, it's hard to have like a fully formed opinion on your own yet, right? Like there's
right. So I'll send like the relevant stats, the point spreads, that kind of thing. And then on Tuesday, and like after we talk, I try to, you and I try to at least hammer out some ideas for the week, and then I'll send those over, and then we'll usually vote on either Wednesday or Thursday, especially if or at least take a vote to make sure don't want to be on the Thursday game, so
yes. So what about the experience on Sunday? My family, we had a few Bengals, so it wasn't that fun, but I guess if you're all in and you don't have ATL or Cincinnati, like you guys had a pretty fun one, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that it's ever really been in contention for us at any point in the season. Like we never snuck, we've always been like 2 touchdowns ahead in all of these games. There's a couple that like, I forget. The Bears last week, it was like a 1 possession, but it was more or less, it was over from a very early point. And like the Bills, it was like 3-0, 6-0. I think it was like 6-3. And I was like, oh shit. And then it was just like 200-0 or something. So
right, just blew him out of the water. But hey, also, I looked at your entry on the map, man. I've been looking forward.
I know.
I know you might have hinted at how you're going to take Carolina against the Saints in a couple weeks to get through Week 10, but you just saw. I mean, obviously the Bills, but that team you were kind of maybe hoping on.
Just got completely hurricane-a-rona'd off the off the top rope.
Off the top, that's right, man. But there's some time. Things might shake out a little different that week.
Obviously, what you're talking about is the issue with Week 10, and we picked Buffalo, and which burns them for Week 10, which is like a big problem for us. Because if you look ahead and you sort by point spread, we're in deep doo-doo in terms of what we have available for Week 10. And so there's some options, and I think one of them is sort of jumping out to me based on yesterday night. And I think at this point we have to be leaning towards the Detroit Lions for that week, because I think the Commanders are just looking like what started off as an up and down roller coaster team is turning into a not so good team anymore.
Yes, lots to think about for that week. I just pulled up the map, and later today we'll have the odds coming in for Week 10. This week we have these huge favorites to think about. I feel like a lot of the field is already kind of looking past this week.
Yeah.
Although that might be a big mistake. So we have that update on the website. Also, side note, I know lots of people are like, when they get knocked out of Survivor, they're like over it and they just want to like not see Survivor stuff. So I know we're getting some people canceling. And if anyone has any tech support, like weird issues, messaging us on Twitter or the email account is what gets the fastest response. So anyone with an issue, please feel free to reach out.
Or you could text Gabe personally. I'll give him your phone number.
Yeah. Hey, I should have just an intercom at my house that
a buzz line.
Any Atlas person could just, hey Gabe, get off the couch and
just fix my shit, dude.
Yeah, no, it's mostly it's going pretty smooth this year. Just has a little commentary on it, but anyway, we dropped some predictions this morning. I don't know if you saw those yet, Mikey.
Yeah, I always check it out.
Okay. Did it make you feel any type of thing?
Normally, I have some that like are my immediate gut reaction, and I'm not getting that now, which is a little disconcerting. But but I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. It's uncharted territory for me, I would say. Not having an immediate gut reaction.
Okay, so let's say you do pick a team this week, and it's guaranteed to lose. Sorry, but would you rather go out like the Falcons did or like the Bengals did? What do you want your last Survivor game to feel like? What's worse?
Okay, so there is some merit to selecting a game and you are completely dead from the opening kick, more or less. Where you can just turn it off and go for a jog or something.
Yeah. Also, having a reason that you lost, like if you're like, oh, Kirk Cousins like just wasn't able to do a single thing.
Or I mean, like
the
best example is the dude with the, dropping it on the 1 yard line.
Oh, I had blocked that out until now.
I figured you did. I just wanted to make sure, to bring that up.
You said the best, as in that's what you want to go out doing?
No, I just like that's the best example of the opposite of being out of it, from the jump.
You're about to win, and the guy literally just does not.
Something that you couldn't even pray for if you were betting on the other side. It wouldn't even occur to you to say drop the ball.
Right. It'd be unreasonable to pray for that.
Right. To ask Yahweh to have him drop the ball on the 1 yard, like that just doesn't seem fair. And then that's what occurred.
Right. You can't.
Somebody was like, sitting in a sports book, like last few dollars on it, and in both ways, one person on them, one person against them, and it was they can't believe what happened.
Right, you can't cheer for something that you can't imagine the script writers even putting in there.
Right.
But now we've had a lot of those. I don't know. Maybe we'll get one more this season. Hopefully not on any of our games, because it's not fun, man, to watch that happen. The Bengals, though, it's funny. Like, if you're deciding between Cincinnati and Atlanta, maybe there's more regret on a ATL pick, because Cincinnati seemed like they were doing their thing. They kept scoring, they were fine, and maybe it was more unlucky. I don't know. Just trying to get my head right for maybe getting knocked down on one of these huge favorites this week, because it looks like, what's it, 90% of the field more is going to be on one of these -10s or better.
Yeah.
And have we seen a -10 lose this year yet?
I don't think so. No, because everybody's been making it through.
Well, Rams were -9.
The Packers, that 1 week that they lost, they were like 7, right? 7.5.
Yeah, 7. Or they had yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah, okay, I guess we've had about 10 of them, and they all won, those huge favorites. We're about due, huh?
I mean, you have a seriously negative attitude going into a week where you have multiple 10-point favorite options.
All right, well, 3 90%ers, that's like 72% to all survive. So that's kind of 28% will get at least one loss, something like that. I don't know. I've been talking to people about this week, and I mentioned this a little bit yesterday. This week really feels like matching up your entry with what you want in the future, because most people have the decision. They have the Chargers, and then they either have one of Rams, Green Bay. Does that match you?
I have the Chargers,
and you have one of.
I have. Who did you say? Packers or who?
Green Bay or Rams?
I think I have Rams.
Yeah, so pretty much everyone's in that boat. It's because everyone a few weeks ago there was a week where it was like you can take Rams or Green Bay, but you have to save the other one for this week.
Yeah. So
pretty much every entry did that, and now that Chargers have creeped up and they haven't been really burned much this year. There's that's the decision for everyone. Chargers, one of those two, or go down low. And
we're kind of getting to the point where these plans are coming to fruition, people that are okay, so we're in week 9, but in week 3, you're not really all right, if I use this team in week 3, then week 5, I got to use this one. It's more if I use this team in week 3, then I'll, further down, week 9 is when I plan to do this. So it's not really going week 3 to week 5. It's more getting into the point where you're week 8, 9, 10, 11. And that's where we're getting to now. So some of these decisions, in some sense, are already made for a lot of people, right? Because they made the decision to take X team in week 3, which means they're going to take Y team in week 9.
I get what you're saying, but I think this week everyone has a fork. I think
Okay.
because main thing being week 13, who both LA teams are the big favorites likely that week, and this week everyone can either choose to use one of those teams or not. I feel like there's just lots of interaction with everyone's choice this week with the future. Specifically, I mean, the Chargers are the main thing. We talk about the Chargers because pretty much everyone has them.
Yeah.
And they have this spot, week 13. They're hosting Vegas. Everyone thinks Vegas is one of the worst teams now.
Yep.
Maybe they could come a little closer, and instead of Chargers being -9.5, maybe they're only -6 or something if the right injuries happen. But it looks pretty likely that Chargers are going to be a fat favorite that day. So if you're mapping and you're just trying to maximize your survival, I think it makes a lot of sense to keep the Chargers for them.
You bring up the term, your survival. And I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you.
Me?
Yeah, a little.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if it's a bone to pick, but I want to give you the opportunity to explain yourself.
Go on, man.
It was I asked for your opinion on something, and you said, well, are you trying to maximize your survival or maximize your payout? That was sort of like the dichotomy that you put to me.
Yeah.
It was like, it was fine. And at the time it made sense. And then looking back, I thought about it and I was like, I don't think that really makes sense, because like you can't control what the other teams do. Obviously the only thing within your control is who you pick. And so like, and also not getting to the end means 0 payout. So like you're talking about getting to the end and maximizing your payout, but it shouldn't, like, of course your focus should be on getting to the end, like number 1 with a bullet, versus like doing so while maximizing your payout. That's like a silly that should be an afterthought to getting to the end.
Okay, quick example. Let's say you're in week 18 and there's 100 people left and you
Okay, this example is going to be great. It's like perfectly well defined for this, and it will make sense. But like at the point that we are right now, it's like, the need to get to the end is like so massively trumps any doing so in conjunction with maximizing your payout.
Yeah, I mean, I understand feeling that way because it seems like, in the main World Series of Poker main event, you can't win if you don't make day 2. So
right.
Making day 2 should be your number 1 priority. Is that how you would approach the poker tournament?
Okay, fair point. It's a good point, but because like in that sense, you're banking. You're trying to accumulate chips to get, which would essentially propel you to day 3, 4, 5, whatever. And sure, you can like fold everything, fold your way into day 2 and come back on a poopy stack just to say that you made day 2.
Right. Is that how you play?
Not me.
Like if it's day 1 of the World Series of Poker main event and it's the last hand of the day and then someone puts you all in and you're a slight underdog, but the pot has so many chips in it that the pot odds are saying easy all in, But in your head, are you going to do okay, I'm trying to earn chips, or am I trying to win the main event? And by winning the main event, I have to make day 2. So I shouldn't put myself as an underdog to win. There's like, I think the hard part, what the hard part people's like brains have a hard time with is like what you said. The thing you have control of is what entry you pick.
Right. That's the only thing you have control over.
Right. And I know some people, whether deserved or not, have the ego where they think they can outpick the market, outpick the field and all that. But if you just approach it like all these games are just like the random events with probabilities, like this one's 70%, this one's 80%. If you can like accept those odds as being pretty close to the truth,
Yeah.
then it becomes a math problem of how do I make my path worth more than everyone else's path? And if everyone's trying to maximize survival, there might be a path with 100x more people on it than a path less traveled.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
And I think,
so hold on, let me just tie the bow on it. Like, so if 100 people are on one path, and that path is obviously really like strong because the market is saying they're all big favorite. That's why it's such a popular path. So if that path gets to the end, 5 times as much as your path, 5 times as often, but your path has 100 less people on it. Like, it's a real simple math problem that doing one way makes you gain money over time, and the other way you gain,
I agree.
and you gain stories, and you can tell people how deep you made it. But what's that worth? It's not worth as much as maximizing the money. And obviously it's short sample, only one of these survivors a year. It's not like you run these like 10 tournaments a day where you just capture the EV. It is stressful and unique and like more pressure because of that stuff, but that's why it makes it harder to play like a shark, in my opinion.
Okay, that's the best. Yeah, the bone has been picked, and you have picked it successfully. So,
All right.
the best thing that you said was like, if you have a path that 100 people are on, then you want to be on your own path with 5 people on it.
Yeah, and the way you do that, you never can like pick better teams than everyone else. You usually have to pick worse teams and then have the good teams available later to punish those people.
Right.
Because a path, like the same path, like let's say you use all the good teams at the beginning, and when they were all 80%, and then at the end you used a bunch of bad teams that were like 60%.
Right.
Let's say you could do the exact opposite thing. Use all the 60s at the beginning and the 80s at the end. That is so different than how the field plays that you might have the same survival rate as everyone, but your path is 100x emptier, lonely.
Right. And then when you arrive at your destination, you got nobody in tow.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference. And I understand that a lot of people don't want to think about that stuff, but I can't
That's
play.
the whole premise of of Survivor Atlas.
Dude, also the name of Survivor, it kind of implies that the whole point is to survive. And if you ever ask ChatGPT for advice on it, ChatGPT can't like understand the next level because it's so word based. It like can't get past what words are, kind of. And it's like, oh, well, you want to survive, but like if personally, I like I'm trying to approach it like a sharp. Anything I'm putting money into, I'm trying to like be sharp about it, and I just don't see any way. But maximizing survival is like a sharp approach as a whole, especially because I don't have the ego to think that I'm just going to beat the market every week on all the games, and I just know better than the market. Like, for example, this week, Jacksonville playing Vegas. That's appealing to a lot of people, and it's stuck out to me before the lines came out. Like, oh, maybe Jacksonville versus Vegas saves me all those good teams. And Jacksonville's like way better than Vegas, right? They got the coach who's in all the viral videos about how nice he is or something, whatever. I don't know if you've seen this, but the line says Jacksonville's a 3-point favorite. And even though like my ego or whatever wants to just, I'll throw it on Jacksonville and save all the good teams. Like the market is saying so loudly that they're only 60%. Like, do not get excited about it. So I just trust the market.
Well, I mean, your explanation is part of the reason why I felt Buffalo was going to be a good pick this past week. And it's easy to talk about now because,
got the dub.
We won by 400 points. But it's just, it was a week that they were going to be low owned because people were banking them, and there were options that were, similar in terms of like point spread.
I mean, using these teams, I think it's cool. Like a lot of people, all the people who got by with New England and Philly and plays like that this week, same angle where it's like you see spots on the future map where you can use them, but if you get the chaos orb and it shakes the whole field up, it's pretty sweet. I think like you did something for your path, like your uniqueness. The uniqueness of a path is directly related to the EV of it, right? Like when you have a bunch of plus EV segments, that makes your path like it means not as much people are on your path as everyone else. But I think there's different aspects to it. There's not just like the short-term EV and the uniqueness. Like the future weeks do matter, and you really don't want to box yourself in ever, especially with most of the season left, right? Like we have so many weeks left, and if you burn a few teams that are needed in a week, like it's hard to get out of that spot. I mean, you're going to be on a favorite though. You'll find a favorite to replace where you would have used Buffalo, but
so
marginal.
Your point, like in saying that, is like we're swapping Buffalo week 8 for week 10, and week 10 is going to be massively owned.
Yes,
like it's going to be 100% of the people that have Buffalo remaining are going to fire them on that week.
Oh no way! Hey, I feel like your sound just kind of something just clipped off with your sound. I'm gonna look at that on that.
It got better or worse?
They just got better right then, right when you did whatever. So I don't think that's true what you're saying. Like that week, the weeks are so different. Like week 10 is the hardest week that people have been looking at for a long time now.
In terms of like point spreads and availability and that kind of stuff, it's going to be, this past week and even this week, there's so many options that are such big favorites.
Yes, right.
And then week 10 is essentially the opposite of that.
Right, and the lines can change. The lines might already be out. I could run over to the other computer and try to do that, but the bunch of these games might get up to -7-point favorites, but the biggest favorite, Denver, Vegas, very, very likely to be the biggest favorite that week. In fact, I can't even imagine how they're not going to be the biggest favorite.
Yeah,
they're 31% available. So those people, if you don't have Denver, the Denver people are already like sucking your value away. So you're already like uphill. So Buffalo also only 30% available, not as big of a favorite, but that would have been like a sweet way to get by. And the other ones, Indy, Detroit, Seattle, like these teams have futures. And
don't forget about my Detroit Lions.
Detroit, man.
So here's the deal. I think we might be lucking out like in a massive way because we keep saying week 10, there's very few options, but for us, I think we're going to have to be leaning that way. And it's especially going to work if, we talk about it every week, but like there's essentially one team that I get information about, and it's the Commanders because, I live in that district, so I'm going to hear more, whatever, sports radio, that kind of stuff. And so there's been a lot of talk about like the possibility of the Redskins being sellers, looking to trade some, short-term contracts, that kind of thing. And because, the writing's on the wall for this season. It just doesn't look good, especially if Jaden continues to be out for.
I got a theory about that, man.
What is it?
I think every single team's local media, that's just like a slam dunk talking point. If you're bad and if you're good, you do the opposite. You talk about how they need to get assets. And I feel like, from my point of view, who also grew up as a Washington fan, I don't see any reason for them to dump anything at all. It's probably just engagement farming by your local radio station.
So normally I would agree, especially when you talk about people that are on like 2-year contracts or greater. But they do have a handful of people that are on contracts are expiring this year. So it would make sense to trade those people. And also it's not like you're going to get some huge. You're not going to trade like your best player and get some huge return for it. But they're talking about trading like a starting D lineman and a starting cornerback, which
I was ready for them to trade Lattimore until he had that sweet pick last night.
That's what the talk is. Lattimore and Deron Payne.
When's Daniels coming back, man? What's the best guess? If you had, Gun.
I don't think this week. I think week 10, which is, kind of going against my hope. Although he hasn't been great this year. That's the other thing. It's like, Mariota's like almost a 1-for-1 replacement in terms of like how good they've both been this year. Yeah, Daniels, is probably has a higher ceiling, but I don't know. I'm not like super thrilled that it's not like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another team that has like a huge disparity between their 1 and 2 quarterback. Like Josh Allen, and when that bum came in and threw like 19 picks in the first half.
Like a few years ago?
Yeah, Peterman.
Man, I got distracted. Sorry, Mikey. Jamie's talking about the site's bug, and I was thinking, oh gosh, is the site like crashing in this very second? But I get
anxiety.
Anxiety about my baby just going down the middle of our show.
On the way to the Halloween trunk or treat last week, my daughter said, "Oh my God, I have anxiety right now." She's in kindergarten, so that's why it's fun. She said, I'm so anxiety.
Are you projecting anxiety on them, worried about your picks, dude? Is that what's going on in the household?
Yeah, I actually explained point spread, like that. My first grader kind of understands point spreads a little bit at this point.
Dude, get her. Or wait, I shouldn't advise to get her on the Survivor soon, but like watching UFC, they show like, oh, kids are doing fighting now. Like, get the kids in it. And they know they're well-rounded MMA people. It's like 13-year-olds punching people. I don't know if you've seen this.
Well, 13 is like, that ain't a kid.
Or yeah, I guess that's like the big kids or whatever. But,
yeah.
But hey, same thing's happening for Survivor, man. Get these kids doing projections starting in first grade. Make some little savants. By the time they're grown, the pool's going to be $100 million. And they're going to be well served by that.
Hey, we had a bet, I think, last week, and I can't remember what it was.
Maybe 2 weeks ago, you set the line 17 on KC.
Yeah.
And they were the number 1 overall pick, so like you didn't win that one.
I took under.
You set the line because you've been stomping me so bad.
Yeah.
And it was a really friendly, player-friendly line you set, Mikey. So thanks for that. I don't know if you have something else in mind.
No, I think I'm up 1 unit on you.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to martingale that and run out of time. It's almost November. So this week, are you guys just feeling you guys out? I'm thinking.
All right, sort it by spread
for week 9. And you don't have Green Bay. You're going to be on Chargers or the Rams, right?
Yeah.
I still hear.
Sure.
Give me 5 seconds. I can hear you. I just want to see if there's more lines.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other option is, I'm going to give the explainer for the Ravens. I'm going to include them in my explainer.
Mm.
And I think that, it's falling into the, the Ravens are like in the category of like, what did you do last week type of thing. Because I think if it was, let's just say the Dolphins lost by 12 last week, Ravens would be like 21-point favorites or something.
Yeah, I can hear that. Maybe the line seems a little wider than I thought at 7.5.
You
But
thought
hey,
it'd be
man,
tighter?
yeah, just because. I mean, I don't know.
The Dolphins showed some fight.
I'm not saying I got the ball knowledge, but I was just surprised. I gotta say, Mikey, you're planning to use Detroit next week some of the time, right? Some
No,
universe you're gonna
no.
do it.
Are you talking about week 10?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if you're doing that sometime, I'm not saying you're locking in, but you're definitely going to be considering it. Then I would really not want to take Baltimore this week, man. Just saying, like if it's time to start thinking about the holidays, kind of, and how you want to be. Baltimore and Detroit and Green Bay have a bunch of weeks from here to there that matter.
Yeah.
And if you're taking Baltimore, I feel like you're already boxed in on Thanksgiving with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia looks like the most popular team on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No, I mean, I said I'm going to include Baltimore in my breakdown, but I'm certainly not going to recommend them. I'm going to give
Right. Well,
the major flag.
We know you try to influence them with these subtly worded messages. So I'm saying maybe push them away from Baltimore. You're using your subliminal.
Yeah, I mean, I pushed everybody away. Not that they were going to vote for the Chiefs this past week, but like I basically said, no go.
Yeah. I wish I no-goed some of that earlier in the season, but man, the LA teams. It just seems like everyone with both LA teams are just going to pick one of them, right? Like,
well, here's another question: who do you think is a worse team, Tennessee or Saints?
Tennessee by a few points, I think.
I agree with that, and so that's kind of why I lean Chargers. People are saying so. Like the reason that the spread is that way is because people think like the Chargers are worse than the Rams. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, here's the latest power ratings for what it's worth. Where the market is saying Tennessee is 2 points worse than the Saints.
Okay.
If they were on a neutral field, the Saints would be a 2-point favorite. So that
I think I would agree with that. This all comes back to that TikTok of the dude breaking down Tennessee and like they're like so bad.
Yeah. I mean the market's saying it, so I'm gonna agree with all this stuff.
He was showing like, just like complete missed assignments, like clearly people not listening or to the play call. Or also just like a failure to execute, like listening to the play call and just getting blown up because you're, not as good as the opposition.
Dude, Tennessee was like in the game for like a quarter, right? Didn't I remember thinking, oh, this could happen. Tennessee.
Yeah, and then it didn't. Like it was obvious.
Yeah, it always in hindsight always seems obvious, but
Well, because like I'll tell you why it was obvious. I don't remember that game in particular, but I can give you my general sense of like a team like Tennessee over the last whatever 8 weeks, or teams that are like bad like Tennessee is they're in the game, quote unquote, by doing something that's like atypical rather than like winning the coin toss, receiving the ball, and then going on an 11 play drive and scoring a touchdown. they remain in the game because the other team kicks a field goal, right, on their first drive. And then Tennessee goes, whatever, 3 and out, then they punt it. Then the other team gets the ball and they fumble on their own, 10-yard line. So that is, an atypical way to keep yourself in the game, which is, common in football. It's not something that is, doesn't happen often in football. Of course, you get a pick six and it changes the whole game, but they're just time and time again, they're just 3 and out or constantly punting. And it's they're not winning in the regular ways of the game. So they need things to be super atypical the entire game in order to stay in it. And that can only go for so long. There's only so many times a quarterback's going to throw a pick six or fumble on their own side of the field.
Well, right. But about 10% of the time, it'll just going to happen.
That is true.
Or what's it? The market says 18% of the time, some random weird stuff is going to happen to make Chargers lose.
That is true.
And I'm not going to the window betting that or anything, but it feels like it should be higher likelihood that Chargers win.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. The point spread can remain the same, but the money line should climb up. So there's some sort of arbitrage there. It just feels like Tennessee is less capable of winning,
right,
than the Saints. And even though the spread is different, and maybe the spread is even justified because what they're saying is the distribution of outcomes for the wins for the Rams is more heavily weighted towards, super high scoring versus a low scoring, whereas the distribution of outcomes for Chargers versus Tennessee, it's the Chargers win more, but the spread is tighter.
Yeah, well, interesting. We do have that situation going on with the Green Bay and Rams where Green Bay 12.5, 87%.
Sure. Okay. Perfect example.
And then so right 7 minutes ago when I went to get the odds, we saw minus 950, 12.5, but Rams minus 14 and only minus 900.
And that's
Whatever,
a
small
significant number, 14's, fairly important.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it in modern day?
Maybe not modern, but
smooth
less than 10, but still, it's more important than 12 to 13. That's for sure.
All right, Mikey, let me help you out, man, on this entry. You guys, I think you guys are very likely picking LA or LA.
Yeah. So there was a week that jumped out to me for the Chargers, and I don't remember what it was. Can you go down the line a little bit?
Week 13 is they're playing. They got the Vegas at home, and it's that little bottleneck after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it's hard to imagine the whole field not loving that spot.
I think that's where I was looking.
Yeah, so their availability is going to get cut down this week, and then you got to think almost everyone that has them that week is going to use them. So that makes it, a little bit interesting to use them early. There are some other choices that week, comparing LA. It looks like I would just guess that the Rams availability is lower than the Chargers that day. And
because of this week?
This week and the next few weeks are viable, and they already started lower. We got 80 to 97.
Yeah.
So that's the same odds, but my gut says that using LA Rams is the path less traveled. And
this coming week.
On week 13.
Oh, week 13. Okay.
I'm saying because week 13, everyone will want to use Chargers versus Vegas.
Right.
And the same win percentage you can get on the Rams versus Carolina. So if you can get on the path less traveled and it's the same win percentage, that seems cool always, right?
Yeah, that goes back to what we were breaking down at the beginning of this episode. And I like that. I like that option.
We did some stuff trying to make visualizations of everyone's path and kind of how it works to get the idea across. nothing came out usable, but we have kind of experimented on pushing this idea. I think there's lots of little ideas in Survivor that are like interesting.
We're doing that with our words now.
Right, but it's hard to capture the ideas with words. It doesn't always like ping the right brain cells in the audience. So, we're trying to make up new ways of doing stuff.
Out of curiosity, sort by spreads for week 9 and like scroll down to some of the wackadoo options.
Okay. So we got the top 5, which
are obvious.
They all seem, given the right entry, they all seem reasonable.
Right.
If you'd burned 2 Thanksgiving teams, I wouldn't use Detroit or Baltimore.
Yeah.
Just because, or excuse me, if you have burned 2 favorites on Thanksgiving, I wouldn't use those. But some people are going to do that. That's fine. And going down lower, man, the ATL, like the New England versus ATL, you think, okay, it's going to be low owned.
Yeah.
And ball knowledge wise, come on, the Patriots are going to smoke them, right? But the market says they're not nearly as big as a favorite as the rest. And the Patriots have that spot in a few weeks. So we projected that one quite low.
So doing that, okay, so going Patriots, it feels fine, but you're just going to look back if, when you inevitably get knocked out by doing this, and you're just going to be like kicking yourself. Like,
thing is, all those top teams have future strength. So if you do a thing trying to preserve that much strength because you have a reason for it, then it seems reasonable. Like Rams, Chargers, Green Bay, Detroit, Baltimore, they all have a week where you would love to use them. Where, hopefully you're punishing the field more. So I don't hate it.
I'd be more apt to like get down with that argument for a team that is particularly not heavily used yet. So if the field has them for like 90%, I could be convinced to use them or not use them in a given situation. I'm more keen on saving a team that is particularly low owned at this moment.
Yes, man, that scoop value.
Because like let's say we didn't use Buffalo and we got through last week somehow. If they're like 35% owned and then they are, say, a 10% favorite, or sorry, 10-point favorite in week 10, like we're talking about, I could be convinced to shy away from them there, thinking that the entirety of the field of that 30% or 40% that has them available is going to go on them this week, and then I'm going to have Buffalo in my pocket. Maybe even like 2% of the field will have Buffalo in their pocket. And that's the situation that I want to be in. Yeah.
Yes. I'm thinking about what you're saying last week. I'm going to try to pull up a number that informs on that. So Indy was like the slam dunk pick for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Last week. And even then, how many people didn't use them that had them?
Okay, that's the best example. That's like perfect. So how owned is Indy right now?
They're now or Indy is like 2% available. Is that what you have?
Perfect. That's like the perfect example. So now you can pick your spot from whatever the remaining 10 weeks, and you're going to be on presumably a good team. Well, not presumably, like the best team in the league currently, based on whatever, but you have them like a free space to use them when no one else is going to be on them.
Yeah, no, that's worth a ton, man. We talk about there's all these different ways to look at value in Survivor, right? Like we have the EV, which is like the short term 1 week only value.
That's like chip EV.
Yeah, right. But remember when they did chip EVs, but they started adding the ICM calculator that figures out what seat you're in, and that way you win.
Yeah. Who gets your chips?
Right. That stuff.
Yeah.
So there's the EV, and then there's the future value, which future value is a lot more kind of
Esoteric.
a little hand wavy. You know, we
Yeah.
have some metrics that are like objective, but we don't have a good way to equate it to money value. Like the short-term
Right.
EV has like a money value thing.
There's a
And
little bit of hokum involved.
yes, I mean, currently, right? So future value, it's kind of like the sum of all the EVs
Right.
that you can work yourself over the future, but also having flexibility makes you want to have EV. And it's not just like a simple math problem. But another like thing I've been thinking about lately, and it like affected me with the Colts play a lot, is like just the scoop value. The chance of what you're saying, you have a great team and no one else has them. Scoop value. I don't, again, kind of hand wavy, little hokum, as you might say in old Maryland. But there's something to it, right? Like the Colts at 2% seem to have more scoop value right now than Kansas City, because Kansas City's most of the field has them.
Yeah, that's exactly what what I was trying to get at, basically.
Yeah, so there's always like people, more and more smart people playing Survivor, figuring stuff out, talking about stuff.
The other element to consider, and it's a factor, not right now, obviously, but like week 17, week 18, is if you have the people or the teams available that are going to be these massive spread favorites in those weeks, your hedge cost, if that's something that you're looking to do, is going to be significantly less than if you don't have those teams available.
Dude, that's pure value,
right?
Like, and really, like if you make maybe not a big favorite, but you make a sweet value play in Survivor, then hedging like helps unlock some of that value. It doesn't necessarily have to be a huge favorite, like because you can create value from Survivor. If you like last year with the example of the guy who could have been on the Seattle Island, he could have created 100K extra in value, and then when you're doing the hedge stuff, it doesn't matter that the hedge price is worse because you created 100K in value
by getting yourself into that position.
Yes. Side note, the 89% of people who had the Colts last week picked the Colts. So that's a spot where it seems like slam dunk all in, but still over 10% of them held back and said, I'm going to try to get weird with it. So
that's fair. So like Buffalo in week 10, what's Buffalo remaining? I think they're like 39% available, something like that.
Yeah, I think 32 is what I see.
Okay. Oh, I guess that was the previous week. So, some of my brothers and sisters in arms used them this past week. But yeah, so like we're talking 32%. And then in week 10, if we assume a similar ratio, we're looking at, 90% of 32% that are going to be on Buffalo.
Yeah, but okay, I mean, it's worth, if you're going to do that stuff, it's worth going to the team tab and seeing
like what else they have in the future.
Like this shows right here the best available. So if everyone had to pick the highest favorite they could, you can see it's 23% of the field out of that 32.
Right.
That would be like the all-in Buffalo likely people, right?
Yeah.
Like if a lot of people with Buffalo and Denver, I guess there's not too many people with both, but you got to think they're going to save Buffalo. Or yeah, man, Denver's going to disappear. We saw Indy disappear. Denver's definitely going to be disappearing just like Indy. Those are the scoop value teams. But hey, that's weeks away, man. We got to figure out how to get to week 9.
It's funny. We get to week 8, and I feel like I won the contest already. I'm like, I'm asking people for, their bank account information for how they need their wire.
I feel like we didn't get too hung up on week 18 today, so I feel like we're not too ahead of the clouds yet.
Yeah, we didn't do a deep dive on ICM play going into week 18.
Yeah. Although we've hinted at it. So maybe Thursday we'll figure out some more angles on which LA team to take, or Green Bay or what, at the tailgate. There is a football game that night that matters. That Baltimore game is Thursday night. So you're going to want to think about that before then. My advice seems cool if you have a flexible Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I'd be scared.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're almost assuredly relegated to LA or LA.
That's not so bad to be on a 10-point favor, man.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey.
Okay.
Let's keep game winning drive. Let's keep driving toward the game winner.
Drive the bus, baby.
And Thursday, 7:00 Eastern, 4:00 Vegas.
Hell
We do
yeah.
Survivor tailgate. Come hang out. And also Discord. If you want to hang out in Discord, we got a bunch of cool people in our members only section. So keep an eye out for that. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.